Western Cape High Court now, a primer residue expert has testified in the Shrien Dewani murder trial. She says even though a glove worn by one of the hitmen tested positive for gunshot residue, this does not necessarily mean he is the shooter. Chief Forensic Analyst Testified conducted tests on the hijacked vehicle in which Annie's body was found and a yellow glove worn by hitman Testified. A piece of the glove was analyzed for primer residue. Testified says the reason why primer residue could be found on the glove is because it was well preserved. Under cross-examination, she says she found it strange that the results of the test were not available during the trial of convicted triggerman Mgeni and were only made available at the request of the defense in August this year. A chief forensic analyst from Pretoria took the stand in the murder trial of British businessman Shrien Dewani in the Western Cape High Court. Testified testified about a primer or gunshot residue. She had conducted tests on the hijacked vehicle in which Annie Dewani's body was found in Khayelitsha in November 2010, as well as on a yellow glove found inside the car. Now, the glove worn by one of the convicted hitmen Testified was recovered 6 days after the murder. A piece of the glove tested positive for primer residue. Vanessa Puna joins us live now to give us the day's updates on the proceedings at the Western Cape High Court. Vanessa, a very good afternoon to you. Now, forensic experts Testified testified about the primer residue in court today. What came out of her testimony?
Yes, good afternoon to you. Basically what came out of her testimony is she's testified about the report that she had done after testing for gunpowder or primer residue taken from a yellow glove worn by one of the hijackers in Testified. Now, if you remember, in 2012, his accomplice, Mgeni, was found by that court as being the triggerman, the one to fire the fatal shot which killed Annie Dewani. But the defense in this trial of Shrien Dewani has always maintained that the possibility that Testified could have been the shooter and not Mgeni. Early on in the trial, they also said that they would, when they get their chance, present evidence, for example, with regards to the length of Mgeni's arm from his underarm to his palm, to show that he couldn't possibly have pulled the trigger which killed her. We do know from the pathologist report that that was a contact gunshot. So really what the state has done by believing this evidence, she's testified today that just because the gunpowder residue was found on the web of the glove doesn't mean that he was necessarily the shooter, that anybody within a 2-meter radius of that gunshot could possibly have tested positive for gunpowder residue.
Vanessa, day 21 of court adjourned very early today. Judge Traverso has already voiced her displeasures at the recent delays in the court. She couldn't be impressed at this stage. What's with these delays? Is it still the state is still trying to line up witnesses at this stage?
At this stage, it doesn't appear as though they are still lining up witnesses, although the judge did give them a tongue lashing for not having had this witness ready last week. But we can expect at least another 1 or 2 at maximum witnesses before the state wraps up its case against Shrien Dewani. So I think that at this point it's fair to say that the state is nearing the end of its case, and it's also then just up to the court to hear then whether the defense will actually be calling witnesses to testify for the defense, and also whether or not they'll put Shrien Dewani on the witness stand when it comes down to that. But from what I gather at this point, it looks as though the state is wrapping up its case in this murder trial.
All right. Now, Vanessa, any word on what we can expect when the trial resumes on Monday?
Look, the state hasn't, even up until this late stage, mentioned anything about the list of witnesses. They wouldn't tell us who the next witness will be. But at this indication, it would appear as though there will be just 1 or 2 more witnesses. It's very uncertain at this point. As we know, a number of policemen, a number of senior policemen have testified. We know that there's been a number of, for example, Annie Dewani's cousin has testified. People that have been close to this investigating officer, Paul Henderson, he's testified. And now this, a forensic expert has testified, and ballistics experts have testified before this. So it really is uncertain exactly who the state will call to close up and to wrap up the case against Shrien Dewani when the trial resumes on Monday.
Vanessa, thank you for that report there. Vanessa Puna live to us from Cape Town on the latest court proceedings in the Shrien Dewani murder trial. The trial resumes on Monday.